Yeah, so you need a spray. You don't need this one. You need a spray like mine, ne? Sanitizer.
Yes.
Oh.
So umhlolo ke eyamseni yisephi khona umuntu ofikile wathatha ispray sami. Kanti nina seningabolisile. Wayengasabona ispray sami. Namhlanje ngizena hayi ngike ngaspray nokuspray. Ngike ngaspray nokuspray. Nomvula health. I'm aging phela. Cabanga ukuthi iminyaka iyahlala. Thank you very much, honorable members. We are starting, we have agreed yesterday on how we're going to proceed. Hopefully all members now are ready. How, Masik, what are you doing? Our first candidate is Mr. Mkize. Yep. Good morning, Mr. Mkize. Is the laptop okay?
Yes, it looks okay, ma'am.
Yeah, we are familiar with the laptop mostly.
Yes, I am familiar indeed with the laptop. It's a fourth industrial revolution.
Okay. The video must be on for Mr. Mkize. Is it on? I don't see him on the screen. Oh, yes, I can see him now. Hey, the position is bad, ne? Because, oh yeah, Miss Senny, right, thank you. But I think also you must fix the light of that computer. It's still dark, it looks dark. Oh, okay. So what can we do? Can we move back a little bit?
Hayi, COVID kaloku.
But you must see him like other members. Still. So what are we going to do? So can't the hotel maybe arrange light for us so that yeah, can you please do that? Good morning, Mr. Mkize. My name is Nonhlanhla Ngubendaba. I'm the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. We have another chairperson from the Select Committee of Select Committee on what? Health and Social Services, ne? From the NCOP, Honorable Gillion. She's not here. If you can look at your screen, you can see her, ne? Honorable Gillion. And then We have our staff members, Dr. Tambo, who is our legal person. Our staff members, again, Nomvula Kiba, Miss Kiba, who is the manager for committee section. Uneliswa Nobatana, who's our committee secretary. And the young lady was assisting you from outside, is Zukiswa, what's the surname? Sorry? France. Zukiswa France. Honorable members are going to introduce themselves one by one. Over to you, starting from Honorable Maluleka.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Buitumelo Maluleke, member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Teliswam Gweba, the member of this subcommittee.
Ngibonga, Chair. My name is MS Kaula, member of the ad hoc committee. Ngiyabonga, Chair.
Good morning. My name is Audrey Malika, a member of the subcommittee.
Hi, good day. My name is Elegant Chabeling. I belong to this committee.
Masibulele, sibulise mntakwethu ngumbulelo Bharha olilungu lele committee.
Sanibonani Khabazela, ufikile wakamasiko ilunga lekomiti.
Good morning. My name is Luyo Lompiti and I'm a member of this committee.
Thank you very much, honorable members, for your introduction. I was requesting the staff that they must also make another copy for us and write names and surnames because they've written the surnames. So they must write names, full names and surname from the list where we are reading the candidates. Okay, thank you very much, honorable members. The gentleman who entered now is the IT person from this hotel. He's assisting us with all the IT services. You have 45 minutes with us in this room, minus the preparations that we're doing for you now. Because you are the first candidate. So usually the first candidate, you'll take longer because we are fixing the machine, we are fixing the stuff and other things. So, but relax, feel free. There's nothing that is impossible or for you. Wish you good luck. My task is not so much, but it's for you to tell us about yourself. Who are you? Where are you coming from? What are you doing? And why do you think you are a suitable candidate to be appointed to serve as a board member of NYDA? But also remember, who's that now? And then tell us why do you think you're a suitable candidate to be appointed as a board member? And hopefully you know that the vacancies that we're filling are only 7. But in terms of our shortlisting, we have shortlisted 30 people. So over to you. The ball is in your court.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, and Thank you, honorable members. My name is Cyril Bongenkosi Mkize. I was born in Greytown, raised in Greytown. And then later on, in search of opportunities, obviously, in education and in job opportunities, I then moved to Durban, but I'm currently still in Greytown. High school, I went to Fendel Combined, where I matriculated, and I did my first year in varsity in 2014. I matriculated in 2018, and I went to University of Zululand, enrolled there for my studies in political sciences, and basically it was BA at that time. But now the department is under social sciences. At that time, it was the arts department, so you had an ability to major the 2 degrees in one stream. So I did political sciences and history at the same time. In that year, I was able to I started to participate in many organizations. To begin with, I started to participate in a national network called Activate Leadership, where I got to be introduced in leadership and learned different networking tools. Basically, it's a network of leaders who are groomed across all 9 provinces with certain tools and strategies to assist in communities. And then I did my second year again there, where I participated in another organization called Enactors. I was HOD in that organization. HOD in a project called EM. EM, it's Entrepreneur Young Minds. So it's where I got to actually understand society. I got to understand how entrepreneurs operate and the need as well to grow certain skills within the field of entrepreneurship. And then afterwards, I graduated in 2016. I went to Howard College, where I enrolled in my studies in international relations. But I couldn't finish there due to financial strains. But I did complete my subjects. I did pass more of my subjects. It was only the research which I was due the following year. And then afterwards, I've been serving in communities. First in my community, and then when I moved to Durban, since most of the time I spent my time in Durban, I was able to serve in a committee that deals specifically with students and with the youth at large.
What do you want to eat in the cup? Carefully hit. Want orange?
No. Orange is a snack. I want like fish. Remember this fish?
Okay.
What's happening now?
Oh, I thought there were voices, Chair.
Sorry?
No, I thought there were voices, so I
There were, yeah, that's why I'm asking. There were voices. What's happening? Please, whoever has logged in our system, switch off your mics because you are disturbing our candidate. Sorry, Mr. Mkize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chairperson. Maybe I should start by, because I didn't know in which structure I would introduce my academic career. That's why I was talking about my enrollment in varsity and trying to match with the organization I've served in within varsity itself. Because these organizations were available within the student context and the transnational student organizations. For example, your EM, there was a time where in each and every year, annually, we had to meet at a global event where all students were involved in different projects. And the way we would present our projects, it would be in a competition manner, of which the winner is awarded with a certain amount to go back to his or her community. I'll start activate leadership. In activate leadership, I was able to study and understand how we could best, bring together society, how we could best groom leaders, and all during that organization or during that network of leadership, I was able as well to not only explore but be practical and be part to whatever that was happening there. So after being groomed, we were sent to communities. For example, introduced with 10 tools, packed with 10 tools like the IDP, the IYDP, the Integrated Youth Development Plan. And we had to make sure that we go and find out about these documents in our communities. So I was practicing in a sense because I went back to communities, understanding different tools that we had to implement in making sure that certain projects are invited along. And we did. Okay. Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Maybe it's because I'm nervous. Being in the 16, yes. I'll try to.
If you are nervous, also drink water.
Yes.
So that can go down a little bit.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson.
We understand because these interviews are live.
And to be exposed in such a panel, it's something else for me. So it's not that I'm not aware of what I'm talking about. It's just that the environment is yes. So the reason why I think I'm a suitable candidate for this position, first of all, throughout my academic career and my leadership experience, I was able to observe, and as well, if I say my academic career, because I did political sciences and history, I learned certain methodology and methodologies and approaches in understanding social behavior of beings towards certain regulations and so on. Because we know that as a state-wide organization that is made up of rules that we need to observe, and there are certain behaviors along that way. So I was able to attain that along my academic career and observing society and certain issues that are in society. For example, you hear about issues that evoke in societies, issues of women abuse, issues of gender-based violence, issues pertaining to youth trying to access the entrepreneurial sector, and so on. Knowing these and observing these challenges and how government has responded over time to these issues, but still the gap remains between government and service delivery and the people at large. It was only this year, or it was only in the National Development Plan that was introduced, that I was able to somehow link my understanding to what was or had to be done. For example, the circle of dynamic approach that was introduced by the President, Your Excellency, it's something that has played sound to me. And because I've been part to things that have been happening in my community, I have a specific approach and a specific model that speaks sounds to that approach the President introduced. And being a member of community, I was able to be part of a school and be part of a committee that had managed in one school. And due to social issues that were evoking in that school, the behavior of students, teenage pregnancy, and so on. And all in all, at the end of the day, I came up with an idea of which I know it could be sustainable because it's adjusted with the laws and plans of the NYDA. So I'll just try and unpack the idea. The National Development Plan presented a multi-dimensional responsive approach. It presented a multi-dimensional framework of issues that are happening and how these issues are interlinked at at society and as well as national level. So a multi-dimensional responsive approach was needed in that case to respond to these minor issues that are affecting people on the ground, especially the youth, women, and people with disabilities. So,
Mr. Mkhize, with regards to the question, the first question that you were asked, in fact, the staff members have made a mistake because I said 5 minutes.
I can only come.
I'm sure it's because we're interrupted by those people, and also we're busy with the introduction of some sort. So your 5 minutes is over. So I will now hand over to honorable members. Honorable members will raise their hands so that I can know which members are going to ask a question. The first honorable member is who's going to ask you a question will be Honorable Maluleka, Honorable Mpiti, Honorable Mamkaula, Honorable Malika. Yeah, Ganjal, how many are you? Masiko Ngokumbila. Yeah. It's Maluleka, Mamkaula, Mpiti, Malika, Kaula Mshilo, number 2. I said Maluleka, Kaula, Mpiti, Malika, and it's fine. I said Masiko. Yeah, it's fine. So how many are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 honorable members are going to ask you questions. So you will respond. Take your time, ne? Just relax. If you want to drink water, drink water. Honorable Maluleka.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And Babu Mkhize Kabazela. Siyabonga. And the way you explained yourself, I think we have got a lot of experience. But then from me, I would like to know from you. You see, many people have the perception that NYDA is not for all youth in our country. Then what can you do if you are given a chance to be a board member to change the negative narration or perception of these people in this agency? Thank you, Chair.
So I should respond straight away, Chair.
Yes.
Okay. There is one-dimensional responsive approach, as I've just said, and that is bringing the NYDA board, independent board, closer to the people. And how do we do that? We start, we communicate to our people at a ground level, at a community level, at a ward level. So how do we do that? We elect certain minor committees that will be mandated with specific rules that could or with specific issues. No, basically, can I just have, please?
If you didn't hear the question very well, you must be free to ask the member.
No, to be honest, Chair, I did get the question. The thing is, yes, but if I could just express myself in Zulu in trying to, yes.
Yeah, allowed.
No problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
allowed.
No, into esizoyenza mama, noma into esiplana ukuyenza ukuthi emphakathini yethu ngoba sibonile ukuthi as much as izinto ifika noma kuthiwa ziyenziwa phezulu government kodwa ayifiki kahle kubantu bethu egroundini. So into esizoyenza ukuthi sithole ama minor committees. Ngokwenza lawo ama minor committees sizobe one Provide amathuba omsebenzi, and number 2 sifuna ukuthi inhlaka zonke emphakathini isebenzisane. For example, abantu emphakathini besebenzisane kuzoba no government including i-board le-NYDA. Ilona leli lizobe liqoka abantu abama community members ajwayelekile. Ukuthi mabeqoka labantu laba ukuthi bebe ingxenye lelo board elikhulu le-NYDA kodwa beseva laphana enzansi ngemandate ye-NYDA bazokwazi ukusondeza abantu umphakathi. And indlela yokwenza lokho ukuthi sikwazi uku-integrate izikole, sikwazi ukuletha umphakathi ekutheni ukwazi uku-understand kahle kahle yini eyenzakalayo. It's social cohesion basically. It's anchoring social cohesion.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Maluleka. Mam Kaula, Honorable Kaula.
Sibonge Mhlonishwa Mkhize.
Thank you, sir.
Sanibona, ngicabanga ukuthi angikhulume ngiqede then kusiyangena. Ngithi sibonge Mhlonishwa Mkhize, mina okwami ngoba sengikhavile uHonorable Maluleka. Ebengifuna ukwazi ke siyabona manje intsha yethu yonke icile kakhulu kuzidakamizwa nasophuzweni. Ngenxa yokuthi imost yayo iqedile ezikoleni kodwa imisebenzi ayikho. Yini ongasisiza ngayo mangabe kwenzeka ungena kule board ukuthi nayo izibone ifana nabanye abantu okunjengokuthi mhlambe
Mam Kaula khulumela phansi.
Okay.
Uyamuzwa Mr. Mkhize?
Ulizwi kancane Mam Kaula. Ngiyabonga Chairperson.
No, ngithi mina i-youth yethu ngenxa yokuthi isilahle ithemba kakhulu Mkhize ngohulumeni okhona ngenxa ukuthi nabantu baningi. Yini ongayenza ukuthi intsha ikwazi ukuphuma kuzidakamizwa nasophuzweni? Okunye yini ongayenza ukuthi labantu basemakhaya, ngiyangithanda usiqinise kakhulu emakhaya. Emakhaya sibabone nabo babe i-part and parcel yale NYDA bengagcini ngokuyizwa ngendaba noma kuma radio noma kuma TV. Ngiyabonga.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mkhize. We see.
There's no need to interrupt.
Chair, through you, I'm covered on that one. No, Honorable Kaula, May Kaula. Into khona la ukuthi leli committee ngisho liphethe imandate sevela kwi-NYDA ethi asihlanganise umphakathi nazo zonke inhlaka ngama programs athize. Lama programs ama multi-responsive programs kanjani ngoba involve izikole at the same time ebakha amathuba omsebenzi and at the same time futhi ebe anchor lento esithi social cohesion okusho ukuthi ukusebenzisana komphakathi. The reason why intsha eningi igxile ezidakamizweni it's because intsha eningi ibona ingasesiyona ingxenye yomphakathi ngenxa ukuthi ama issues abakhuluma ngawo mase ekhulunywa yes bewabukele kude but mase kufanele ifike kubona wafika ibona. So this committee is its duty and its main purpose is to make sure ukuthi zonke izinto ziba practical. Njengoba ngisho ukuthi the cycle of development approach that was introduced in the national plan, in national development plan, that approach is the approach which needs implementation. It needs practicality. And in getting practicality, ukuthi lama committee azosebenzisana nezikole one as independent structures, ucheck ukuthi one ama structures ezikoleni are right because lento edakamizwa notshwala na yonke into, those are influences isikhathi esiningi asukaphi asuke ezikoleni. Uma uzwa kuthiwa ingane ziphumuleze exercise noma khona izinto ezenzayo endaweni ethize, they end up being part and parcel learning ama behaviors abangafundanga ekhaya at times. So ukwenza sure leli committee liyabhekelela ukuthi one ama structures ama students ezikoleni aranwa ngendlela ekuyiyona yini. That's number one. Number two, ukwenza sure ukuthi akhona yini ama models responda to i-national development plan anjengani ama-entrepreneur models njenge-agriculture, for example. We could use our cooperatives to try and invite all students of all subjects. And in that, we will be anchoring social cohesion, which are 70 and emphakathini enento akazoyenza noma enomsebenzi omphoqa ukuthi abe ngcenyawo. Isikhathi sama-drugs nayo yonke into le enye siya ngoncipha kancane kancane because everyone is active, everyone is participating. All we need is the youth to be practical in this democracy.
Okay, thank you very much. Mam Khawula, we are done.
Thank you, Chair.
Yabonga. Honorable Mpiti.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. As possible, we are here to listen to you and not to. I want to perhaps start off with a question. Very simply, in your view, what do you think, if any, have been the shortcomings of the NYDA in the past couple of years, and what exactly would you change if you had the opportunity to be appointed onto this board?
Thank you, Honorable, I think it's Honorable Balik Mpiti, or Honorable Mpiti, sorry, I'm confusing names. No, the previous NYDA board, yes, they have implemented, and in fact, they've introduced a new approach in terms of, getting to the people. But the whole reality is those 1-day programs, 2-day programs, they are not working out for our people. We need something that is going to be consistent. And by saying that this is a multi-responsive approach, I'm saying that this committee should be consistent in listening to the youth one. This committee should be consistent, it not be biased, and always respond to the youth's issues or the issues pertaining to the youth. Of which ama-issues laba ngabe bawatheklisha manje into eyinkinga ukuthi abekho practical. Senza kanjani thina ukuba invite ukuthi bebe practical in this democracy where else bona bazodlala indima enkulu yabo ekuthenini benze sure ukuthi izinto lezi abayifunayo emphakathini ziyenzeka. So into esingayenza nje ezohluka ukuthi sibathathe sibenze bebe practical, and ngokwenza njalo futhi sizobe sivula nezinye indawo ukuthi ikwazi ukuthi iphefumule kahle in terms of producing capabilities, employment, and so on. For example, if you take the agriculture model approach, the cooperatives one, and implement it extensively in school, and have these schools being part of those projects. For example, there are subjects that have never been practical before, like your accounting. It has never been practical before. Say, understand, it's practical after varsity. But at a ground level, we could use those subjects to introduce and instill the culture of entrepreneurship at a very young age, and use some subjects, agriculture, how to integrate the two. To say, asibe my students are 3 year agriculture, asibe now 2 accounting, working together on ground, monitored by community members who are part of the committee, the larger committee or board that is independent in the youth. And by doing that, we will be able to achieve the huge participation of youth. And the reason why I'm mentioning students at that level of education, it's because the National Development Plan does say that we need to be holistic, in trying to make sure that we improve impilo zabantu, and holistic, and make sure that abantu abasha participate kakhulu kule democracy more than we have to as leaders.
Just a quick follow-up. You mentioned that in your view, in the past, that the NYDA has been biased. Can you maybe elaborate in what way it has been biased?
Well, you will get that in most cases. Well, when I'm not, well, first of all, to indicate, I'm not saying being biased as in to achieve certain things, but I'm saying being biased in a sense that abantu bagcina sebekholelwa ukuthi no, programs NYDA, it's only available to certain people. For example, there are times where you drop in in certain committees, big committees, and you'll meet people of certain political parties and whatnot. And if you notice, the larger portion of the youth, which is not politically affiliated, then has a problem, because whenever you initiate these programs, they don't think it's political problems, and therefore they choose to say, no, politics, government, it's all the same. Whereas that's not the case. In this case of introducing this board, we are saying that the NYDA is independent, and therefore it wants the larger portion of the youth that is largely excluded from these activities to be part and parcel of the change that needs to be brought about. So what I'm trying to say, so what I'm trying to say basically, abantu laba abayi-youth le yasemphakathini abengekho ingxenye ama-political parties abawothola amathuba ukuthi bebe ingxenye lezi zinto, because whenever you hear about a summit that has been supported by the NYDA, it's not advertising communities, it's only leaders who know that they will tell their people, and then in that way you don't get to have it transparent, you don't get to bring these people into board. So now how do we best make sure that they know these institutions are separate but they are working together to make sure izinto zenzeke emphakathini?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. Honorable Malika.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Mkhize, how will the Public Finance Management Act apply to the NYDA? And what role would the board of directors play in terms of the PFMA in the NYDA?
I did get the second question, but the first one, please. What is the role of the Public Management Fund? Was that the question?
I said, how would the PFMA apply to the NYDA?
Well, it's specified according to, it's specified according to the NYDA Act that deals specifically, I think it's one of the objectives, one of the principles of the NYDA. Basically, the Umsobom funds is used to fund educational programs, many other programs that deal specifically with the youth, educational programs, community programs that deal with bridging gap in society, and even the ones that I'm just mentioning right now, that they will be assisted, because these models that will be coming from schools, they will be overlapping to society. So to better upgrade them and develop them, we would need the assistance of the PMFA. And secondly, the PMFA, it is said that as it is managed by the board, what is most important is that it meets and it should be used specifically for the funds of the NYDA programs, and maybe in managing the board itself.
Just to make a follow-up question on what Honorable Malika was asking you.
Please. Yes, Chair.
What do you understand by PFMA?
It's the Public Financial Management, or it's the Public Financial Management Act, of which speaks to how, I think, public financial management, how public funds should be managed.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Maybe, okay.
Yeah.
Now just on the NYD, on the PFMA, how do you see the role of the board of the NYDA in implementation or adherence to the Public Finance Management Act? How would you see you as a board member, what do you think your role should be in ensuring that the PFMA is work?
Okay, well, firstly, Honorable Member, the NYDA works with including civil society organizations and whatnot, in trying to create job opportunities and whatnot. So i-PMFA Act or ama-funds NYDA afuneka ngabe asetshenziswe ekuthenini zenza kanjani lezi zinhlangu zikwazi ukusupportana ukuhlanganisa ukwazi ukukreate amathuba omsebenzi. For example, ukwazi ukwenza sure ukuthi ama-projects aranwa ngendlela okuyiyona emphakathini, ukwazi ukwenza sure ukuthi ugovernment lapha akashoda khona uyakwazi ukuthi sorry.
No. Did you hear his question?
No.
How are you going to ensure that PFMA is implemented fully by you as a member of the board?
Firstly, we need to outline what has to be done and see according to budget ukuthi lezi zinto zozithatha imali engakanani nani. And before we even allocate certain funds to lezo zinto, and they should have sound strategic plans on how those goals will be achieved. For example, ama-time frames akhona nazo zonke izinto ey'fana nalezo funeke zibe specific, funeke zibe clear ukuze sikwazi ukuthi si-dissolve lama funds. And secondly, futhi in supporting education, funeke sazi ukuthi what skills and sikwazi futhi ukuxhasa according to us. But lapho we don't need much details on education.
5 minutes, it's over.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Masiko.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Sibonge kakhulu Khabazela. Khabazela lapha siyabona ukuthi siphila ekhathini enzima kakhulu lapho sibona ukuthi sifikelwe ubhubhane uCovid. Ngokubona kwakho ke Khabazela, abantu abasha ingabe bathinteke kanjani ilolu bhubhane uCovid? Nokuthi ke mangabe sithi uhulumeni ungabalekelela abantu abasha ukuthi basizakale, ungabasiza kanjani? So how have young people been impacted by the pandemic of COVID-19, and how can government intervene in terms of assisting young people? Thank you.
Into yokuqala nje, honorable member, yabona, eyenzekile most ye-youth ilahlekelwe umsebenzi, and nabanye abahlele ekhaya uthola ukuthi abakabuyela emsebenzini. In education kume iy'nhlelo ze-education, so nasemakhaya nje at large uthola ukuthi abantu abaningi abangasebenzi, so manje ukuba khona kwe-COVID kuya-add to lawo ma-challenges akanjalo. So ukuzama ukulwa nalo bhubhane, government ukurelease ama-funds, ukubanika ama-funds ukuze bekwazi ukuthi bedile nama-situations abo ababhekene nawo. For example, abafundi laba basemakhaya bebe-receive imali ka-NSFAS, and kwesinye isikhathi le mali futhi yona imali ebibaxhasa ukuthi bekwazi ukumitha ezinye zezidingo zabo ey'balulekile. So ukwazi ukuthi basizakale nabo njengoba besemakhaya ukuze ezinye zezidingo zabo lezi ey'balulekile kubona zikwazi ukufezeka. One, and number two, futhi ukwazi ukuthi amathuba omsebenzi siwenza kanjani ukusebenzisa le mali ka-government. For example, njengoba khona i-COVID-19 kukhona isidingo sokuthi kube khona abantu abazokwenza sure ukuthi one, i-COVID-19 kuba khona iy'nsiza ey'fanele zokuyivikela zokuthi bengakwazi ukuvikeleka abantu. And ekwenzeni sure lokho kudinga abantu abazophatha ama-sprays, kudinga abantu abazokwenza sure ukuthi iy'nsiza zonke ey'bhekene ne-COVID-19 noma ey'dinga zibe khona for i-COVID-19 ziyaba khona ngalama funds a-government. And number two futhi, number three, ukwazi ukusiza amabhizinisi amancane because most amabhizinisi a-affectikile njengoba i-COVID-19. So siwasiza kanjani amabhizinisi amancane nakhulana na-ownwa abantu abasha nje kakhulukazi, yabo. Siwasiza kanjani ukuze kwazi ukuthi abuyele esimeni noma a-pick up from lapho abe nama-shortcomings khona.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize, for coming, and we wish you good luck. We have come to the end of your questions. There's no other member who wants to ask you a question. I think we're done. I hope arrangements for you to travel back safe home are made by our staff members. I'm not sure if they have arranged any lunch or whatsoever. Uzuki have you arranged any lunch for our candidate or what has happened? Yeah? Okay. So, Joyce.
Yeah, maybe, Chairperson, I think maybe we can ask Mkhize if he has a question for us as the panel. But angasibuza ukuthi sizom-appointa or kanjani.
Ngone ibingakhona imibuzo ebengafisa ukuyibuza kodwa ngicela uqale ngicacise lokho. Yabo ukuba kwispace kanje esikanje, it doesn't actually mean ukuthi angikwazi ukukhuluma ngalezi zinto noma mention noma ukukhuluma ngama issues affect youth, because wonke ama issues affect youth, I'm quite aware of them, and as a result njengoba ngiphathele izinto, they are drafted, yabo. But in terms of, you know, publicly, you know, embracing the noma addressing those issues ngale ndlela kuyona with this panel, yabo, there are certain difficult because I wasn't aware of questions and whatnot, yabo. But into engafisa ukuyazi ukuthi if there are shortcomings noma mhlawumbe ama challenges towards mhlawumbe makuthola ukuthi eminye imibuzo noma ezinye zezinto engawazanga ukuyiphendula kahle, what are those mhlawumbe shortcomings, mhlawumbe hayi manje mhlawumbe ngingathanda ukuthola ukuthi yiziphi izinto engafanele ukuthi ngiyilungise day in trying to actually better focus lezi zinto. But zonke izinto and the plan ade ngimention le young students, it's a plan yeminyaka, it's a plan engayi-observe kule emphakathini, it's a plan that I've tested and seen that it can work. It's possible for it to work, and when it was mentioned in the NDP, it somehow reiterated yonke into, yabo, izinto umuntu abedlule kuzona in trying to make sure ukuthi ujustice uyenzeke emphakathini. It's all written down here, it's all in details there, and I think it will be available mhlawumbe for scrutiny if possible. Ngale walokho ngiyabonga kakhulu ma.
Thank you very much for your time, and wish you well. Traveling safe back home. We'll inform you in due course, because we're still gonna interview other people. I think we'll be finalizing our process next week, because there are other days where we are not going to do the interviews because Parliament will be sitting and we'll be having a 3-line whip. So I think as you are going to watch a TV, you'll know when are we resuming other interviews. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Fly
Thank you,
safe.
honorable members. Thank you.
This was your first time exposure, so it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's normal.
Yes.
To be anxious.
Yes.
The next candidate is who?
Thank you.
Just ask IT to switch the laptops because they are at Parliament. They are complaining about the visual of the candidates. They can't see, so they try to just switch the laptops quickly, just for 5 minutes.
I must do what?
Just give them 5 minutes to switch the laptops. After they do.
Yeah, it's because I wrote to them, because I've been receiving messages that people are saying they're only hearing our voices. They can't see us. So I wrote back to them. Thank you very much. And people of South Africa were listening to you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. Let me go to the...
Chair, before you go, I just realized some people are saying that when honorable members are speaking, I don't think their mics are on Microsoft Teams. So just a reminder that before we speak, to switch on the mic on Microsoft Teams so people can hear the questions. Yeah.
I will fit.
Check now. 1, 2.
Can you hear that on the computer?
1,
You
2.
can hear that. Okay, that's
1,
good.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Okay, and the primary footage is the one that I'm on. Okay. Okay, can you say something on the side? Can you turn on the microphone and say something?
There is one person is volunteering.
Because we need to find out if I can speak in the
Okay, let me call you.
Hi, Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Michael, come in.
Yeah, we can hear you on on this side. It's not it's not loud, but we can hear you. I'll give me a minute. I need to go back downstairs to my office to assist you with that. You are connected. Obviously, the screen you're seeing now is coming from the microphone in front of us. The good news is that all the microphones here, they are linked to this microphone. So whoever is talking, the only thing you will see on the screen right now, if you have a full screen,
Test
is your
1, 2.
handset. But if you have all the other, if you're using Teams and you're logged in with all the other users, you will also see the other users. But I need to get downstairs to sort you out with that.
Can you hear me? Check 1, 2.
Are you still talking to me?
Hello, hello, hello.
Michael, are you still talking to me?
No, no, no. I'll call you back myself.
Okay, thanks.
No, no. When I'm talking, that's when I come up on the screen. When I'm not talking, then it goes off.
So are we okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
So we can start.
Yeah, we should be good to start. We good?
Yeah, but I think the quality is still.
But she can't hear.
No, she can.
She needs to increase the volume on her side.
She said it's that.
Okay, we need to get a light.
The spotlight. Michael, you call me from your laptop, maybe downstairs.
Hang on, let me call you from downstairs.
You can just talk and I can hear if I can hear you.
One, two. Check 1, 2.
Hi, Yopi, can you hear me? Okay. I can hear you, Yopi.
Can you hear me?
But I think that something needs to be turned off. Eh?
Yeah.
Can you maybe reduce the volume on the audio?
Which one?
Oh, sorry. No, the problem is on my side. Hang on.
Okay. Okay. I'm not hearing you on the laptop.
Okay. Yopi, can you hear me?
Just talk again.
I can see you now. Yeah, are we good?
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
You can see me and hear me clearly.
Hold on, let me turn on the microphone this side. Yeah, I can see you, but I can see you, but you're not clear.
Okay, but can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, and I can see
Okay.
you talking in front. You're on the top right on my, or top left on my side.
Okay, 100%.
All right. Just give me a sec. I think what we need to do. I'm logged into TeamViewer into the one of the remote.
Hello? Can you see me? Okay, the hotel is busy organizing a light. We just wanted to sort out the audio and the visual. So as long as you can hear and see me, the light will be sorted out soon.
Okay, I was wondering if
The screen behind is for all the people in the venue to see. Let me ask them if I can switch off the screen.
and how is the other member who's connecting
Yeah.
remotely? How are they gonna see?
Oh, the other members that's connecting remotely?
From their gadgets?
Yes.
Maybe from their gadgets.
Okay, let me just quickly switch. Obviously, I'm still visible for you, and then the people in the conference can still see me. They are organizing a light from the hotel. Sorry, I'm not from the hotel, so. No, they don't have a. They don't have a camera. It's only the webcam on the laptop. The sound. Yes, the sound is coming through all of the tabletop desk speakers. So every person that's speaking in the venue will press a button, and then they will talk. They've muted the microphones on the laptops to prevent feedback. Yes, if they turn on their cameras on their laptops.
Any microphone.
But you can see me in front. I'm waving. And the audio?
Testing 1, 2.
From one of the laptops.
Testing 1, 2.
I can hear you, Moses, from remote.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can hear you from remote.
Okay, they've just turned. I see they've just turned off some of the cameras. No. I
Can I call the candidate in check?
No, wait for Mam Kaula, and all members must be ready. Are you done drinking your tea so that we can start?
Yes, with the raise of temperature, let it go. It's again the what you say.
Honorable members must switch on their videos. Let's resume, honorable members. I think IT has fixed all the IT problems. Now South Africans will be able to see our candidates, and they'll be able also to hear the questions that are asked by honorable members, and also to hear the response from the candidate. And now our systems are on point, so we can start. Can our next candidate?
Okay.
Nomvula phela timekeeper must be here. Or you'll keep time. Press a location. Or the mute our mics from our gadgets. They said no. Oh, okay. Mr. Maliwa. It's afternoon. What time is it? So good one. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Maliwa. You're welcome. My name is Nonhlanhla Ndaba. I'm the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. I'm co-chairing with Chairperson Gillion. She's not present with us here physically, but she's on visual. So if you look at your screen, you can see her, Morensia Gillion. She's the chairperson of Select Committee on Health and Education. Ne? It's Health and Education. Health and Social Services in the NCOP. So honorable members are going to introduce themselves. Laptop in your desk so that you can be able to use that laptop because everything is recorded. We're working visually. You must know that everybody is watching this interview, so it's up to you. What do you say to South Africans and to the panel? Relax. If you see that you are becoming more anxious, drink water. And you are free to express yourself in whatever language you want to. The unfortunate part is when you are going to speak other languages that members will not understand at all. But preferably you can speak English, but any vernacular language that you speak, you are free to express yourself. And then you have only 45 minutes with us. So members will ask you questions and follow-up questions from other members you are going to get. But we wish you good luck and just relax. Know that everybody is watching you. So unfortunately here, you can't say I have a mind block because you can't even submit a sick note. You missed an opportunity, it's gone. So feel free, drink your water. And my first question will be, ask about yourself. Who are you, where are you coming from? And why do you think you're a suitable candidate to be appointed to serve in the board of NYDA? And maybe tell us, why did you apply for this post? Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Correctly captured, I am Samkele Happy Maliwa.
Sorry, my apologies. Honorable members, may you please introduce yourselves first? And then after their introduction, we'll then hand over to you. Sorry, my apologies, Mr. Malima.
Thank you,
Maliwa.
Chairperson.
Okay.
My name is Buitumelo Maluleke, the member of the subcommittee. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Honorable Telisom Gweba, a member of this subcommittee.
Sanibonani. Sibongile. I'm a member of the committee. Ngiyabonga.
Good afternoon. My name is Audrey Malika, a member of subcommittee.
Good afternoon. My name is Elegant Chabele. I belong to this committee. Thank you.
Molo Mhlekazi, igama nguMbulelo Bharha, ulilungu lale committee.
Good afternoon, Fikile Masiko, a member of the subcommittee.
Hi, good afternoon. Igama nguLeon Mpiti, and I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
Yeah, we have next to Mr. Mpiti, Honorable Mpiti, is Dr. Tembe, our legal person from Parliament. And we have two ladies. The other one, the one who's standing is Ms. Nomvula Chiba, the management committee section. And the one who's seated is Ms. Neliswa Nobatana, our committee secretary. The other one who was busy with your logistics is Ms. Zukiswa France from P. I now hand over to you. You can start. Hopefully you heard the question.
Thank you very much, Chair. I did capture the question. Chair, maybe for housekeeping rules, I must just observe all protocol and greet everybody and appreciate the opportunity really. Correctly captured, Chair, by the curriculum vitae in front of members of Parliament. My name is Samgele Happy Maliwa. I'm Advocate Maliwa by profession. Chair, I come from a very small town called Tsolo, outside which lies a village called Mtibanisweni, in the sub-region of Umhlongo, in our Tambo district municipality, in the noble province of the Eastern Cape. My education, Chair, life started on the dusty streets of the same town where I completed education life. Upon where I went to school and completed my high school at Strategic High School. It is worth mentioning that after which I went to Walter Sisulu University, University of Transkei. That is where I enrolled for my LLB degree, where I participated in youth-related programs in assisting young people and being a student assistant from relative times. I was a student activist in my time when I was in the university. When I completed my degree, I went to law school in East London. Before I maybe go to my law school life at Walter Sisulu University, I was given an opportunity to be the president of the School of Law and preside over legal minds of people who possess what I remain thinking displays the highest level of acumen amongst young people of that very university. I then went to law school in East London, where I was also charged with the responsibility to be the president of the School of Law from the Eastern Cape School of Law in East London. I took such responsibility, discharged it. I do believe with humility, as I always present myself the same way. I then extensive training, which is open to both attorneys and advocates to go to law school and be trained to be prepared to be a young legal professional. I then went to go for training to be an advocate, and that's an extensive training, the most extensive I've ever really undergone for a year. And then I completed. I've been practicing as an advocate for a period of 2 years now, and I would be doing misjustice in this interview because the opportunity I'm given is to tell people about myself. I am a father to 2 boys, Kai and Aku, and I do believe that they will come up to be young people, and the opportunity I've been given here to just make me explain to the rest of South Africa what opportunities lie for them ahead as custodians of that which the National Youth Development Agency becomes for all young people. I am married happily to a beautiful woman, the apple of my eye really, and the woman of my dreams, Nosihle Maliwa. And I reign from the Eastern Cape province. Chair, the last thing I want to mention is, along with me figuratively, I bring aspirations of the most degenerate and ordinary people of the Eastern Cape province. I bring messages across those who have had less representation. I am a representative of an entire generation of young people. I come here because I believe that in committee, what hopes run through the mysterious lives of the people of the Eastern Cape. I must explain to this committee before I leave, my lady, that at least there's opportunity and chances that are expressed for all young people in South Africa, and that not all is lost and everything is gone. That there's still hope that there could be committees of National Youth Development Agency who are a true representative of their own aspirations. I want to speak across all young people in the country. I might be born in the Eastern Cape, but in my message today, I want to represent people from Khayelitsha, Kwalanga. I want to represent people from Limpopo, Skukuni, villages I've never been in. But they must, after this presentation, believe that in reality, South African government, through its national plan, national development plan, and the National Youth Development Agency, has a plan for every young person. Thank you very much, Chair. That's about me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maliwa. The next question. Honorable Chair Gillion, you'll be the first one. Honorable Mkweba, Honorable Bacha, Honorable Beleng, Honorable Masiko, Honorable Mpiti. Over to you, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to Mr. Maliwa. My question is on the vision of the NYDA. Now, if we take into account the vision of the NYDA, Mr. Maliwa, how will you contribute to enhance this vision of the NYDA when you will be on the board of NYDA?
Thank you very much for the question, ma'am. Well, I think it's worth mentioning to this subcommittee, as they would know, that the National Youth Development Agency as an agency is finds its origin really statutory. It does not find its existence anywhere. One has to deal with the vision, the mission, the plans, the tactics of the NYDA. It cannot be separated from its own, because it's an act of parliament. It finds its existence. It's a creature of statute, really. This would be captured in Section 3 of the NYDA Act, and it prides itself on four fundamental pillars. The first being an integrated youth development plan. Now, by integrated youth development plan, it relates to a government outlined strategy where it integrates the development of young people and put in programs that are going to ensure that young people in their own integrated in diversity are well represented. I think it is also difficult to discuss the NYDA as an act or functions of the NYDA or plans of the NYDA, isolating it from all other youth regulatory structures that are in existence. Those would be, what does the National Development Plan of South Africa say relating to youth development in general? It must, every other solution we find through the National Youth Development Agency and its strategic tactics must be cross-referenced against the plans of government. From a NYDA, it would be irresponsible of me not to accept the strides that generations and generations of young people who have come before us in the NYDA have done good. Because the amalgamation of the NYDA, it's born as a child out of the amalgamation of Umsobo, and that had a big scope and represented the democratic fix of South Africa. And it also catered for quite a large contingent of young people in a developing state. Now, it's important that the policy of the NYDA is responsive as it were, ma'am, but we need more programs. We need more involvement of programs in the NYDA that show that youth development is understood in an integrated plan. But that's one of them. The NYDA has a concomitant duty on Section 3 of building capacity. Now, by capacity, it's important for us to improve our monitoring strategies, because monitoring strategies don't just have businesses, because it should be different really as an entity from a grants disbursement agency. because then we would have to go to the bank for that. You get into a certain bank, you are told go to teller number 5, and in teller number 5, that's where you are given your money. That's not what a development agency is about. Building capacity requires a studied plan, an understanding of really the challenges of young people and what amicable solutions young people to find solutions. So if I'm a board member, it's simply, ma'am, just to try to make sure that the NYDA is policy adherent, because the provisions of what solutions exist in young people currently are reflected, some of them anyway, are reflected in the NYDA. So we just need to find a policy, an expanded policy framework, but also ensure that young people, board members of the NYDA, understand their role, that their supervisory role over and above everything relating to the NYDA is not limited merely on grant disbursements, but a developmental program that they must bring. There are others like your cohesive cultural building, a building block cohesively that we must always introduce. Of course, we are diverse, and it would be hard to discuss youth development or any form of development for that matter in South Africa, isolating the historic demographics of South Africa. So in appreciating that, I will use that opportunity as a board member to say, guys, let's pick up our staccato guns, let's fire on. Let's use the available policies that are there now, and let's just rush into action, because they remain slogans if they are not put to use. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Mr. Maliwa. In the SONA 2020, the President, in his address, said the selected schools across the country to equip learners with the required skills for the 4th industrial revolution. My question to you, Mr. Maliwa, is that how can an institution like the NYDA support young people, the unemployed, the academics, the professionals, and those that aspire to be entrepreneurs, for example, to digitalize their operations, especially in peri-urban and rural districts? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Member. I think also it is important, before I delve into the depth of the question, to accept the fury that the current pandemic has introduced to South Africa. Because to discuss the introduction and coming into being of the 4th industrial revolution and isolating from what South Africa has currently been undergoing would be a misnomer on our side. It is quite important to accept that because of the recent pandemic of the COVID-19, 4th industrial revolution no longer must remain, both from committee members, board members of the NYDA, South African government in general, must no longer remain a plan that is in place, because it has been accelerated into being. The 4th industrial revolution, from the availability, from the arrival of, from the existence of COVID-19 pandemic, we immediately had to switch on not only young people, schools, and every other relative government component had to switch immediately to an urgent sort of education and an urgent education about what are the benefits of the 4th industrial revolution. This has left 2 gaps, notable. One, it has exposed clearly the imbalances that the past of South Africa has created. It has exposed that if there's rapid introduction of the 4th industrial revolution, it leaves exposed to say, people from the Eastern Pondoland, depth rural areas of Mbizana, access the fiber network that ought to be the very mechanism used to enhance fourth industrial revolution. How do rural universities, the most poor of the impoverished people, those who come from universities that are not well equipped with overhead projectors, they are not equipped with any other relative scientifically existing and available methods where they can be able to assist. But then it creates a second conflict to say the fourth industrial revolution in its own way digitalizes the work plan. To mean we need to accept that if it's majority of young people that exist in South Africa now, those majority of young people need to be urgently informed to get into spaces that create opportunities in terms of business for us to benefit on the fourth industrial revolution. Ma'am, the National Youth Development Agency is an entity of development. It is the custodian of government relating to its progressive and radical youth strategy. It is available as a policy for us. All we need is extended government commitment to say, now that we accept that the world is changing, it's becoming the demographics and population of South Africa is becoming younger, how do we reinvest and redirect both on education, and this is primary and junior. We've seen kids now have to adhere to the modern technology of laptops to access their own information. It's a good thing. But let's equip more. Let's expand as the NYDA, because Section 5 of the NYDA Act speaks about information sharing and how, as a board of the NYDA, we must put to place that information out there. It means let's find commitment from the private sector. Let's find commitment from the government to say the fourth industrial revolution through COVID-19 has been just urgently made to come into being. What rapid interventions on rural areas, the most poor of the impoverished backgrounds, can we introduce? One of them being the fiber lines, one of them being network accessibility, one of them being ensuring that even the most poor of the impoverished people are able to access and tap into whatever is available. Thank you very much.
Who's next? Honorable Clark.
Enkosi Mhlekazi. Owami umbuzo umalunga nento uba ungasuka uye ngapha eMdantsane uzawufika pha abantwana abaninzi bengasebenzi. Uzawufika pha ulutsha oluninzi lungenanto kwenza. Bambi sebencamele kwizinto ezifana neziyobisi. Nguphi umyalezo onowunika abantwana abapha ukwenzela uba bakwazi uphinda bathi likhona ithemba eSouth Africa, ikhona into endinoyenza iphilise nabanye abantu abangabanye. Uphele lapho umbuzo wami.
Thank you very much. My first quote to those young people would be from a book by Frantz Fanon. Its title is Wretches of the Earth. The chapter concerned is Pitfalls of National Consciousness. The paragraph I want them to go to is that each generation must, within relative obscurity, identify its mission. But when it has done that, it must make one of two elections, either to fulfill it or to betray it. I close quote. It's important that we understand that youth development is an integrated program. Youth development is not an event. It's not something that we have a one-stop stop for all solutions that we must bring. That's the first thing. Secondly, the amalgamation of the Umsobomvu Youth Fund and the Youth Commission exposed us because it took two national related agencies and made out of it one agency with a reduced budget plan. A reality that comes with that is 500 million rands that is allocated for the NYDA does not reflect that reality that there are a lot of young people who need financial intervention. So the solutions of NYDA, though, are not only financially orientated. With the greatest respect, I argue that NYDA is a policy-related development agency that has a duty to find policies that are responsive to challenges of young people. Poverty, youth with disability, access people who cannot get employed are not challenges for a youth development agency. They are challenges for a youth development agency insofar as it relates to policies that must be formulated to engage government and commit government for a vigorous plan or to take 500 million rands and say, find jobs for young people. It's not a solution. It's a quick stop to what really people would want to be exposed to. The issue is, let's have a national youth summit. On the national youth summit, have a serious discussion and a policy proposal to government to say, President Cyril Ramaphosa can no longer be a bypass issue. It cannot be a, by the way, I've got young people in South Africa. This is a population that is infested with young people. The custodians of whatever will be left behind when President Ramaphosa, the entire cabinet, sadly my committee members are no longer existed. The custodians of that is going to be young people. Therefore, an intervention plan must be vigorous. It must be showing commitment. It is true that a government of South Africa says, hypothetically, in all its departments, it has a youth development strategy and an accommodation for youth programs. Let's go to Parliament. Let's make proposals to Parliament to say, Parliament, we need commitment, financial commitments through all these departments to say, we set aside 4% of every government department budget. To say, NYDA, you are the custodian of national youth. But because we must accept that there are regulations around, it's not money that can be easily transferred from department into the NYDA account. Let's say then that commitment, the NYDA must bring all its extensive programs and say, for instance, to the Department of Trade and Industry, these are young people, they don't only need bursaries, they need these jobs, these are the skills that they possess, these programs that they have brought onto the table. It is bigger on our budget to fund, but we do know that you have cohesive programs that are running for young people. Please accept these documents on the vote of the amount that you had to put aside. A typical example being 100 million rands. I'm just being hypothetical to say from that vote, these are the solutions that will come. Then in that way, we give effect to the National Development Plan because it speaks about an integrated government strategy. So it is not a one-stop solution, unfortunately. We cannot combat through a national development agency youth unemployment because it means we would be converted to a youth employment agency, which we're not. Ours is to tap into the legal frame, the mental framework of how we better formulate policies that are committing government, are committing the private sector to say, these are the challenges of young people, and these are the primary consumers of all that is there for everyone to see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maliwa. The next question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Mr. Maliwa, situnis tukosako tata.
Ndilingenge lugade bubungane.
Kade benkosi. Mr. Maliwa, I think you would agree with me when I say that it is always important for us to say that we should leave no young person behind. And in order to do that, we should always say that in terms of public spending, every cent counts and every penny should be accounted for. How would you ensure that good governance in the NYDA is taken care of? Should you be appointed in the board?
Ma'am, I wish honestly I could be appointed as a board member. And I say this because I think maybe most of the answers that relate to the questions that need attention have nothing to do with the inavailability of a policy framework that is already in place. It is simply that we need to remind board members, we need to remind each and every person that is serving in the board to say what becomes your vehicle to find the solution in the question that currently exists. These things are there, ma'am. You have the Public Finance Management Act. It's the repository of public financial regulation. It is all government departments, government entities for them to declare their assets, their liabilities, every other regulation that relates to management of public funds. Now, that's part one. This is our vehicle. Now, I'm trying to answer how we are getting to a solution. We already have the public finance, now develop another one. The Public Finance Management Act has 5 pillars where it exposes, it sort of introduces the nature and the ability of how public regulation must act. Right at the helm, I will show other board members that, you see, there's a rule of law. And that rule of law merely simply means that above everything, all statutory regulatory bodies are based on the founding provisions through Parliament of the South African Constitution, Act 108 of 1996, and adherence to all acts that are there up until they are amended or augmented means that we must respect the rule of law, because the interpretation, the last interpretation of which will be the court of law as the final arbiter of what must happen. That's the first. It also, the Public Finance Management Act will also tell us about accountability, effectiveness and efficiency. It will tell us about transparency. It will, as this committee, as board members of the NYDA, what improves strategies. I think it is also, again, worth mentioning, the previous NYDA boards need a round of applause, because all those boards have, the previous boards have had clean audits. And I can't come here and say I will improve on a clean audit. How cleaner can it be, really? It is just that, clean audits. But how do we keep that up? Because I am calling for an extended funding from the government, a commitment from all government departments. It simply means, ma'am, the one part I've not mentioned about the Public Finance Management Act, which it calls for everyone, is moral integrity. That cannot be taught on an interview. It cannot be called for by me becoming a board member. It's simply a conscious related matter. You can only hope, as I'm making commitment, that if I'm appointed as a board member, moral integrity, which I want every other member who's a board member, or that if I get an opportunity, I'll uphold. So there are existing policies that just needs us to be well aware of and to accept that why young people, this is our own project. The old people are not going to be here for long. We just are custodians of this thing. Thank you, ma'am.
A follow-up, because you've touched something in terms of morals and integrity. So how are you going to enforce morals and ethics and integrity in the governance structure? And you are going to work with administration. So how are you going to enforce good ethics in the administration?
Thank you very much, ma'am. The greatest part about being a legal mind is the exposure it gives you how regulation works. And it also gives you an extended opportunity to accept that once you are falling outside the scope of a regulatory framework, there is no explanation, but that is, ma'am, the Public Finance Management Act has rules. And those rules are strict to say this is hard to discuss the moral integrity, isolating the rule of law, because they are both joined by one legal principle, the principle of Ubuntu. Because somebody must accept that they have a responsibility beyond their own benefit lines. Somebody must accept that the responsibility that they have, this is not our own project. The National Youth Development Agency is not our own entity. We're simply custodians for future generations to come. It is those who come after us who have a responsibility far above that we are and we have ever been. We have a responsibility of being public repository of public funds. We are custodians of millions and millions of rands entrusted by government to develop young people. We have come to this interview to say we ask that young people trust us in relation to responsibility. To say, we are not going to be the first board, if I'm appointed as a board member, to have not an audit which is not clean. That's the first part. Secondly, the moral high ground that we want to bring to this thing called the National Youth Development Agents, it must be easy from board members of the NYDA and all active participants of the NYDA to find the next ministers, the next MECs, the next provincial representatives in local municipalities and in provincial governments, because they are par excellence as it relates to moral integrity. Thank you.
Thanks, Chairperson. I'm happy in your answers you made reference to the PFMA even before the questions were asked about the PFMA. That to me it's quite an encouragement. And that the NYDA is a Schedule 3A public entity within the PFMA. No? And then when you look at the PFMA, you should look at it in conjunction with the National Treasury regulations, the NYDA Act you made mention, and King 4 Code of Corporate Governance. Those are very, very important documents. And if we are to be appointed as a member of the board, their responsibilities are aligned to the King 4 and others. But my question is more on youth employment or youth unemployment, whichever it is. Youth unemployment is the most challenging issue facing young people. What I want to know from you is that if you are to be appointed as a board member, what mechanisms